Hello, my name is Lidia Vizy, and today I'm going to doing my presentation about the EU Action Plan on Human Rights and Democracy from 2020 to 2024. And I would like to give an introduction of the document and also to show what's in the document and what's the EU's focused on the human rights and democracy. So, first of all, I would like to introduce the document. And you read this document to improve the EU leadership on human rights and streamline its decision making. And so this action plan stands as a beacon of commitment to the fundamental values of human dignity, equality, and democratic governance. In an era marked by complex global challenges and shifting geopolitical dynamics, the EU reaffirms its unwavering dedication to advancing the cause of human rights and democratic principles both within its borders and across the world stage. So this plan represents a strategic roadmap for the EU's engagement in promoting and protecting human rights and democracy, encapsulating a vision of a world where every individual enjoys the full spectrum of rights and freedoms, developed against the backdrop of evolving threats to human rights and democracy, including authoritarianism, discrimination, and technological challenges. So this document underscores the EU's proactive stance in addressing contemporary challenges head-on, and grounded in the principles of universality, indivisibility, and interdependence of human rights. This document sets forth ambitious objectives and concerted measures to amplify the EU's impact in fostering a more just, inclusive, and rights-respecting world. It reflects the EU's recognition that the promotion of human rights and democracy is not only a moral imperative but also essential for peace, stability, and sustainable development globally. As we embark on this journey outlined in the EU Action Plan, let us reaffirm our collective commitment to upholding the inherent dignity and rights of all individuals, irrespective of their background or circumstances. Through concerted action, dialogue, and partnership, we can strive towards a world where human rights and democratic values serve as the cornerstone of societies, ensuring a brighter and more equitable future for generations to come. So, the first part of this document is about protecting and empowering individuals. So, it talks about to identifying the inherent dignity and the worth of every person. The action plan underscores the EU's commitment to safeguarding individuals' rights and freedoms while empowering them to actively participate in democratic process and civic life. And so protecting people and eliminating inequalities, discrimination, and exclusion is one of the important point of the plan. So it prioritizes the protection of these groups and ensuring that their specific needs and rights are addressed through targeted policies and programs. The second one is to empowering people. So this document defenders play a critical role in promoting and protecting human rights. So it includes measures to support and empower human rights defenders, and including through financial assistance, capacity building initiatives, and diplomatic advocacy. The third one is promoting fundamental freedoms and strengthening civic and political space. So the action plan prioritizes the protection of civil and political rights and includes freedom of expression, assembly, and association. The aim is to safeguard individuals' rights to participate in political process, express dissenting opinions, and engage in peaceful activism without fear of reprisal or censorship. The fourth one is reinforcing economic, social, cultural, and labor rights. So strengthen the linkage between human rights and the environment, including climate change in EU external action. Support activities to raise awareness of the human rights impact and implications of climate change and environmental degradation. And promote zero tolerance policy on child labor and the eradication of forced labor. The fifth one is supporting the rule of law and the fair administration of justice. So advance the rule of law, support the strengthening of independent and impartial judiciary, oppose external pressure against judges and national justice systems, and promote the right to a fair trial to ensure respect for human rights in the administration of justice. And the sixth one is the closing the accountability gap, fighting impunity and supporting transitional justice. So access to justice is fundamental to upholding human rights. So the plan seeks to strengthen the legal frameworks and institutions to ensure that individuals have access to effective rights and redress mechanisms in cases of human rights violations. The next main point is to building resilient, inclusive, and democratic societies. Recognizing that such societies are essential for ensuring the well-being and empowerment of individuals, as well as for fostering sustainable development and peace, the action plan outlines strategic measures to promote these principles within the European Union and globally. And the first point here is to unchanging democratic, accountable, and transparent institutions. Strengthening democratic governance within the EU and its partner countries through accountable and transparent institutions, enhancing access to information and promoting transparency in EU policies, process, and decision making. The second one is promoting responsive, inclusive, participatory, and representative decision making. So this advancing responsive governance structures within the EU and partner countries to address the needs and concerns of all citizens. Fostering a culture of participatory democracy where citizens have meaningful opportunities to influence policy formulation and implementation. The third one is supporting independent and pluralistic media, access to information, and the fight against disinformation. Strengthening support for independent and pluralistic media to ensure diverse viewpoints and free expression are upheld as fundamental pillars of democratic societies. Promoting universal access to accurate and reliable information by enhancing transparency, accountability, and the availability of public information. The fourth one, so last one, is reinforcing a human rights and participative approach to conflict prevention and crisis resolution. promoting a human rights-based approach to conflict prevention and crisis resolution, emphasizing the protection of vulnerable populations and the inclusion of diverse stakeholders in decision-making processes, enhancing participative mechanisms for early warning, mediation, and conflict resolution, fostering dialogue, reconciliation, and sustainable peace-building efforts. So, by prioritizing the building of resilient, inclusive, and democratic societies, this document seeks to strengthen the foundations of democracy and promote social cohesion and ensure that all individuals can fully participate in and benefit from their societies. The third big group is promoting a global system for human rights and democracy. So it talks about to understanding the interconnectedness of human rights challenges and the importance of international cooperation. So the action plan seeks to strengthen the global framework for protecting and promoting human rights and democratic principles. So the first point here is the multilateral cooperation. So it means that the deepening multilateral cooperation with international organizations, including the United Nations and regional bodies to promote human rights, democracy, and the rule of law globally through joint advocacy, capacity building, and coordination efforts. Supporting multilateral initiatives and mechanisms for human rights, protecting and promoting, including the Universal Periodic Review process, treaty bodies, and special rapporteurs to strengthen the international human rights framework and accountability mechanism. The second one is the regional partnerships. Strengthening regional partnerships with neighboring countries and regional organizations to promote human rights, democracy, and the rule of law throughout dialogue, cooperation, and joint initiatives. Also, it aims to enhancing collaboration with regional partners to address common human rights challenges, including conflict prevention, peace building, and the protection of vulnerable populations. The third one is the bilateral cooperation, and it aims to enhancing with partner countries to promote human rights, democracy, and the rule of law through dialogue, technical assistance, and capacity building initiatives. And also to support democratic transition, promoting good governance, and combating discrimination and inequality. And the fourth one is civil society and national human rights institutions. Strengthening partnerships with civil society organizations and national human rights institutions to promote dialogue, collaboration, and joint action on human rights and democratic governance. Also, it aims to support the capacity building efforts of civil society organizations and national human rights institutions to empower them to effectively advocate for human rights, monitor compliance, and hold governance and institutions accountable. The next one is the business sector, which aims to promote corporate responsibility and accountability within the business sector, emphasizing respect for human rights, labor standards, and environmental sustainability in all business practices. Also, it aims to engage with businesses to promote the implementation of the United Nations Guiding Principles on Businesses and Human Rights, fostering dialogue and collaboration between governments, businesses, and civil society to address human rights challenges in the corporate sector. And the last one is the compliance with international human rights and international humanitarian law, ensuring full compliance with international human rights standards and international humanitarian law in all EU policies and actions, reaffirming the EU's commitment to upholding the rule of law and respect for human dignity. Also, it aims to support efforts to strengthen accountability mechanisms and promote justice for human rights violations and humanitarian abuses, including through support for national and international judicial processes. So, by promoting a global system for human rights, and also for democracy, this document seeks to uphold universal human rights standards and strengthen international cooperation and contribute to a more just, peaceful, and rights-respecting world. So the next one is the new technologies, harnessing opportunities and addressing challenges. So this part is about seeing the transformative impact of technological advancements on human rights and democratic principles. The action plan aims to harness the potential of new technologies while also mitigating their risks. And the first point here is the capacity building and effective monitoring. By investing in capacity building initiatives to strengthen the effectiveness and efficiency of institutions, civil society organizations, and national human rights institutions in promoting and protecting human rights and democracy. Supporting efforts to ensure monitoring and reporting mechanisms to effectively assess progress, identify challenges, and address gaps in the implementation of human rights and democracy initiatives. And the second one is promoting human rights and democracy in the use of digital technologies, including artificial intelligence. Advancing initiatives to ensure that the development and deployment of digital technologies, including AI, uphold fundamental rights principles such as privacy, non-discrimination, and freedom of expression. Supporting efforts to promote digital literacy and awareness amongst citizens, civil society organizations, and policymakers to empower them to engage critically with digital technologies and their potential impact on human rights and democracy. So, by addressing the opportunities and challenges posed by new technologies, this document is aim is to harness the transformative potential of technology to advance human rights, democracy, and inclusion while mitigating the risk and safeguarding individual rights and freedoms in digital age. And the next one is the next part is about delivering by working together. So knowing the interconnectedness of human rights and democratic challenges and the need for collaborative efforts to address them effectively, the action plan emphasized cooperation among EU institutions, member states, civil society organizations, international partners, and other stakeholders. The first part is about the public diplomacy and strategic communication. Leveraging public diplomacy and strategic communication initiatives to raise awareness, promote understanding, and foster dialogue on human rights and democracy principles both within the EU and globally. supporting targeted communication campaigns to counter disinformation, combat human rights abuses, and promote positive narratives about human rights and democracy, including through digital platforms and social media. And the second one is the implementation, monitoring, and evaluation, ensuring effective implementation of the EU action plan's objectives through targeted initiatives, resource allocation, and coordination mechanisms across EU institutions and member states. It aims to establish robust monitoring and evaluation frameworks to track progress, assess achievements, and identify areas for improvement in the implementation of human rights and democracy initiatives. So by working together collaboratively, the EU Action Plan aims to maximize the impact of its efforts, leverage collective strengths, and address complex challenges more effectively. Throughout dialogue, cooperation, and partnership, the EU and its partners can deliver tangible results, promote positive change, and uphold the values of human dignity, equality, and justice for all. So these were the parts what the document is about, and now I would like to just show some things what the document also says. So it shows that there should be some reports that helps this action plan going on throughout the years. So the first one is the annual report on human rights and democracy in the world. And it needs to be done and shown every year from June 2021. And it track progress of the implementation of this action plan, and also adjust the structure of the report to reflect the implementation of priority actions and to provide a framework for monitoring. The next one is the midterm review, which needed to be done in June 2023, and it shows conduct and it needed to show midterm review of the implementation of the action plan involving the member states and the civil society, and also use the results as an input for the future action plan on human rights and democracy. The next one is the end-term evaluation, and it will need to be done in June 2025. And it will need to show an end-term evaluation of the implementation of the action plan involving the member states and also the civil society. And the next one is implementation and monitoring with the EU member states, and it needs to be done throughout the whole implementation. So it aims to organize regular exchanges of views in the Council on best practices, as well as annual discussions of EU institutions and member states' progress. The next one is the EU Human Rights Guidelines, as it needs to be done as required, and it reviews the EU human rights guidelines when necessary, the EU guidelines of human rights dialogues with third countries. The next one is human rights and democracy country strategies. It needed to be start of the beginning of 2021. And it ensured that the human rights and democracy country strategies developed locally by the EU delegations and the EU member states' embassies also reflect the priority actions of the action plan, taking into account the country-specific context. The next one is the European Parliament. so it needs to like review throughout the whole implementation, follow up on European Parliament resolutions and debates that are relevant for the implementation of the action plan. The next one is consultation with civil society. It needs to be done every year, starting from June 2021. Regularly engage with civil society on the overall implementation of the action plan and organize dedicated annual consultations. And the last one is the rights-based approach methodology. It needed to be done in 2024. Which is broaden the scope of the updated toolbox, a right-based approach encompassing all human rights for EU development cooperation by applying it to all EU external action programs and further developing joint rights-based approach initiatives with member states, including through joint programming. So these reports are actually playing a crucial role in monitoring progress because it also like informed the policy decisions and ensuring accountability in the implementation of the EU action plan. And also they provide valuable insights into the challenges and opportunities in advancing human rights and democracy and guiding future actions and initiatives to promote positive change. But actually the thing is that I looked at it online and I couldn't really find these reports, so maybe I just like wasn't really like looking at it, or I just didn't look to like on a good site website or something, but I couldn't really find these. So actually I'm not sure if all like these ones are actually they like made it or write it. I'm not sure about it. So, and the last one is the conclusion. So it's like what's the main point of it, why did they like want to be done, and also like really like what's the like the what's like the benefit for everyone from this document. So represents a significant commitment by the European Union to uphold and promote fundamental human rights and democratic principles both within its borders and on the global stage. So actually this document is not just for like the EU and the member states, it's also for whole Europe and also for globally. So they're like cooperating with the United Nations too. Yeah, so it's not just for the EU and for the member state. Protecting and empowering individuals means ensuring that everyone can fully enjoy civil, political, as well as economic, social, and cultural rights. And this plan stands as a testament to the EU's unwavering commitment to upholding human rights and democratic principles as fundamental values, guiding principles, and driving forces for positive change in the world. So it's really like the aim is really that the EU wants that everyone would live like equally and in a way which is like good for everyone and without any violence. And also the EU wants like every country to become like democratic and the economic to be good and also like so really like to everyone to fully like enjoy and being happy in their countries, and not to be afraid of any like political or social and culture things. So yeah, thank you for your attention, and if there's any question, please let me know.